Good evening, Graham. I think we're live. Yeah, we are. I got a tweet notification,
Yeah, there
and
we go.
I got little bars happening, so I think they can hear us too.
Look at that.
Well, we
How official.
are. I love all the tweets I get. It's been whatever days or whatever weeks of the national championship because I, for one, am still relishing on our victory, and I think that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to go. We've done the offensive breakdown, so if you haven't checked that show out, please do. It's on our YouTube channel at Dog Sports Live or Dog Sports Live on YouTube, and we're going to talk about the defense. Graham, welcome.
Thank you.
Are you still relishing? I know you've been all over the place looking at the coaching hires and all that sort of stuff, but I know your heart is still loving watching the game.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no, I definitely I feel like it's almost taken till like fairly recently in the last few weeks to kind of fully sink in, truthfully. I think in some way, like I know I was there and I saw it with my own two eyes, but now that we're sort of back in the realm of like prepping for next season and talking about spring practice and talking about programs in general, I feel like it's like actually hit to me like, oh, like Georgia's a national championship program now, and sort of how much that's changed like the discourse around Kirby Smart and Georgia football in general and recruiting and all of that stuff. So
there's so I mean, like, there's no noise around the Georgia program that's not mostly positive.
yeah,
Really, the only shots been taken are the injuries to the Alabama wide receivers, and it certainly feels better to be on this side of it than the excuse deniers as opposed to excuse makers. Because let's be honest, I mean, Georgia has had their fair share of excuses to be had, and that's the game, and that's what makes it fun. But largely, it's just so positive. And I mean, I know there's a lot of consternation over the quarterback Stetson coming back, but man, come on, dude! It's like it's his team, dude. This is his team,
yeah.
and I'm excited for him to get a chance to repeat. That's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, you can say that like you wish Georgia had a 5-star quarterback under center because, reason X, Y, or Z, and some of that's valid, and like I'm totally willing to have that conversation with people. What nobody can say at this point is what everyone spent, I think, a lot of last fall saying. Not everyone, but a lot of people spent a lot of last fall saying Georgia can't win a national title with Stetson Bennett, and
I
at
said
this
that.
point,
I said that.
yeah, and I mean that wasn't a outsider opinion in any way, shape, or form, right? Like I think that we're at a point where you know it's just you might not agree with like you might not think he's the most talented guy in the room. You might think that Georgia, with the recruiting the way it is across the board, should have a future first round NFL draft pick under center. That's all fine, well, and good. They probably will soon. I also think that this, I think there's more of an openness to this quarterback competition probably than a lot of people think. Like I think that if somebody emerges and plays really well, it wouldn't shock me to see something happen mid-year. Do I expect Stetson to start against Oregon? Yeah, I do. Like barring injury or something, but I wouldn't be shocked to see somebody, emerge and start taking some snaps or something halfway through the season or in mid-September. So
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun to watch.
yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch. We've got all spring to read tea leaves and listen to pressers, and we've got all spring practice. We got the G-Day, and we've got the fall camp and all that stuff leading up to it. I will say this on that note, pivoting because we're going to talk about the defense. Georgia doesn't win that game on Stetson alone, right?
No,
We
of
can
course
agree.
not. Yeah.
We can agree on that the defense played a championship quality not only game but year. They had a tough game against Alabama in the SEC championship, but every other game they played, they were without any doubt the best defense in the country.
Yeah, totally. I mean, with just to be fully transparent and honest here, with like 3.5 minutes to go in the third quarter, right before James Cook busted off his big run that kind of changed everything. Like I tweeted from the stands, Georgia might want to think about going to JT Daniels just because nothing was really clicking. And then obviously, we did the offensive plays last episode and things clicked when they had to. But Georgia's front seven, that was the thing that carried them throughout the year. And I think, if you want to assign this national title to a certain position group. It's it's that defensive line or those linebackers.
Yeah, and we talked about all year. We talked about it in the last show. It's like our secondary was inexperienced. It had a lot of high quality players, but it was inexperienced, and the front seven was going to be the key to Georgia's success, and that absolutely played out. All year long, and getting after the quarterback. Linebackers, keeping plays in front of them and just tackling and covering. It was a very special unit we had.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm with you. And on that note, let's look at it one more time and cherish these guys.
See if I can remember the buttons here. Oh, hey, here we go. Watch this. Let's go back to this play. This is clip 1, first play of the game.
Yeah, so I felt like Nakobe really sets the tone early here. He just, reads, reacts, hits, comes across that formation and fills that gap really well against the running back. And like Georgia had been so hard hitting all year. And then in that game against Alabama, it was the only time where you felt like you saw like the majority of the plays, the offensive guy was falling forward or, kind of delivering the blow instead of Georgia's defenders being the harder hitting person in a play. So it felt like coming across right there and reading that. And honestly, there's a gap there. Like if he doesn't get there, that's a big play right off the bat. And it just kind of felt like, okay, this looks like the Georgia defense that we recognize again.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's like that, that like watching a boxing match. It's like you got to plan until you get hit in the mouth. And, Nakobe came across there and, I think it was probably a positive play for Alabama, but yeah, that's we're ready to play defense tonight.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I saw it. So yeah, right here, you've got your first third down in the game, and Georgia changed up their pre-snap looks dramatically between the two matchups. So they gave a lot of these like what I call amoeba looks, or what other people call amoeba looks, where right before the snap, everyone's standing up like you see right there. And I think it helped Georgia kind of speed up Bryce Young's clock because I think it just confused him even further as to where pressure was going to come from. You see these guys moving. That's really good look that you're giving us there in slow motion. So, like, this is a first down, but you look at how Georgia is up tight on the line. It's one of those stacks that we saw Alabama kill Georgia with, these bunch stack formations. And this is different. The way that they're defending this is different than they did the first game. So Poole, instead of taking the first wide receiver in the stack, just like he doesn't take that guy despite being pressing up hardest and closest to the line. So again, different than the first game. And you see Georgia's DBs behind him. They all get hands onto their receivers. Kendrick's got a hands on his guys. Smith has a hand on his guys. So it's first down, but more importantly, no free releases, and you see press coverage again. And like when we watched the tape from the Alabama game, I felt like all we talked about over and over and over was, why isn't Georgia bringing more than 4 in obvious passing situations? And why are they giving these receivers free releases all over? And so very early in the game, you see a massive difference there, right? Of you've got 2 blitzing linebackers on 3rd and short. You've got Poole and Smith and Kendrick way up closer to the line, getting hands on guys, not letting them get into their routes very easily. So, yeah, kind of an early, I think, harbinger of things to come in terms of how they adjusted to stop. Because that like, I think I don't have the exact number. Probably SEC StatCat could tell us if we asked, but an astronomical amount of Alabama's like explosive plays and passing yards came off of those bunch formations. And we talked about that on our preview. Like it felt like Georgia nobody had found an answer for those bunch stacks out wide like they were doing. And
yeah, it was
finally found.
I mean, we didn't talk about this pre-show, but yeah, absolutely. I can remember previewing the SEC championship game, and absolutely that stack bunch was their number one formation. It was their number one explosive. And we got our butts kicked in it. And I was watching that game throughout the game, and I kept seeing it. And they even in this game, they got plays on it, but it wasn't near as damaging as it was for the rest of the SEC and the SEC championship game. All right, we've made it 2 plays, and we have not talked about 99, but here we go.
Here we go. Yeah. So this is the fumble return touchdown that didn't happen, so to speak. But Jordan Davis, man, my God, 99 right there coming through. Basically rips Young. Gets in there and wait, is this the touchdown play? I don't remember. Actually, I think it is. But yeah, long story short, either way, all this trash had been talked about, like Jordan Davis, the Heisman campaign being an ill-advised thing and how he wasn't as good as everyone had said he was. And early in the game, setting the tone, coming up, really like making an impact play and showing that they're going to be getting pressure from the interior line all night. And I think, again, what did we know about Bryce Young? Like, you can speed up his clock if you hit him a few times, and getting that early kind of disruption like that, I think was big for Georgia going forward in this game.
I think this might have been the one, right?
No, I think clip 5 was. So yeah, right here, like this is basically perfect defense, right? So you're going to see Nolan Smith crash off the edge, number 4 right there. So if Young hands that ball off, Nolan has him. This is kind of like a weird RPO screenplay that Alabama's running. And then you're going to see Nakobe scrape around the outside to defend the quarterback run. So Georgia's basically taking care of both running threats. And then Nakobe's in there so close, it affects that throw and makes it weird. And, for the first time in the game, Georgia has gotten Alabama to run an unsuccessful play on 1st and 10. Now you've got them in 2nd and 10 where you want to be. And then here you've got, again, another 3rd and short. This is going to be another first down for Bama. But what we were talking about, Georgia's going to bring 5 rushers right here on 3rd down. And you also see Nakobe come in as an edge rusher on 3rd down right there. They get the first down, but still just the type of edge solution that we had talked about Georgia needed, because we kept seeing broken contain on edges in that first game in Atlanta. And you see that extra rusher. So again, representation, very different game plan than what we saw in the first matchup between the two.
We've got clip 13.
Yep. So look at Davis and Nolan Smith go to work here. Fly outside. You've got Jordan Davis doing, the Superman thing. We now know he runs like a 4.7 at 340 pounds or whatever he is from the combine. And then you see Nolan Smith fight off 2 blocks right there. Doesn't, quite make the tackle for the loss, but still forces that play to the boundary. This is a really good angle you've got here of him fighting off the tight end, basically just like stiff arming his head into the dirt and then getting there for a tackle. So just, tough, right? Like really tough coming out. Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Clip 16.
Perfect. So this was the type of situation Bryce Young killed Georgia in during the first game. You got a blitz here that doesn't get home, and all of a sudden you're in man-to-man on the back end. But this time around, nobody is open because William Poole III, our guy, that's right, our guy, we claimed William Poole III, out there locking up the tight end from that slot corner position, Billingsley, who we're going to see get loose later in the game. He's not an easy guy to cover. And pass break up instead of a touch. And then here's that bunch set again. You see Georgia's doing different things and how they cover that, and they're not confused by it, and you don't have anybody running free. So,
and 19, another William Poole.
Another William Poole. Yeah. So wait, this is UGA offense.
Ugh, that's not good. Hang on a second.
No, you're good.
All right. I don't know why that's. Yeah, I've got clip 19 in there, and that would be the same.
That may have been my bad. Let's go to 24.
24. Yeah, here we go.
So here is William Poole III again, number 31. He's following the man in motion, and then comes in, wraps up, makes this tackle. Georgia got killed on those little motion screens from Jamison Williams in the first game, and right here you see a tackle for the loss on it, which I think is a huge deal. And like, just that was a big part of Bama's offense, was like kind of cheap yards off these motion screens all year. And here, I thought what you saw differently in this game was in Atlanta in the SEC championship, Georgia looked lazy pre-snap a lot. Like, you know, these guys would come in motion and Georgia's guys would be kind of jogging and they get caught a step behind, and all of a sudden it mattered when the ball was snapped. And in this game, I thought they did a really good job of treating pre-snap the same as post-snap, and not allowing any space to be created by those pre-snap motions, and being able to arrive on time, basically, to make tackles or cover guys.
And we've got some linebacker play here.
Yeah, so speaking of another guy who looked totally different between Atlanta and Indianapolis, Nolan Smith, incredible here. He's going to shoot this gap and meet Brian Robinson in the hole and get his hands on his hips there and basically just kind of disrupt this. But, I mean, this was the first game, in my personal opinion. Like, he's done some great things at Georgia, but Nolan Smith looked like a former number 1 overall recruit in this game. He was so disruptive. He was finding ways to get in the backfield. He was finding little gaps to get in between that really weren't there. I thought he played just a lights out football game. Here we've got Scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to come in and just fly up and make this tackle on third down. And this felt big, right? Because, like, Georgia had that shaky first series on offense. Alabama's first series on the offense. They come down. They don't score a touchdown, but they drive the field, and they get a field goal, and they're controlling possession. And here you've got a third down close to midfield. And, again, we see, 5 or more rushers on a third down situation. So,
and Scene making the right read, the right play, keeping his eyes on the right spot on the field, and just balls out, makes that play, which, we've seen him come up out of the backfield and make so many big tackles. And it was nice to, this defense was just so exciting to watch and just kept us in the game. I mean, it just allowed that offense. I mean, that's what you want out of a good defense, allow your offense to have a chance to win the game. And we all know they did. Clip 35 is what I got next.
Yep. No, clip 30. I'm sorry. Oh, wait, no, we're good. You already showed it. My bad. Yeah, 35. Okay. Yeah, so I cannot overstate how physical Georgia was early in this game, and they just set the tone. Here you're going to see Quay Walker coming in from that inside backer spot. What did we talk about all year with Quay Walker? The man fills holes better than anybody in football. In college football, the guy scrapes into gaps better than any college linebacker this season, in my opinion, even better than Tyndall and Nakobe. And right here, this is another like wallop hit, dude. Like, he is coming full speed and absolutely popping the running back.
Stops him dead.
Yeah, totally.
All right.
All right, so yeah. Clip 37, this is the type of hit that makes Bryce Young think about getting the ball out faster. Georgia's probably lucky it wasn't a flag. I don't think it was dirty, but it was kind of a high-low situation. And this is exactly what Georgia needed in this game, especially early, right? Like, this pre-snap look that Georgia showed, it confused him a little bit. He wasn't sure where the pressure was going to come from. And ultimately it came from somewhere he didn't expect it to come from. And he's in the dirt.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, what we didn't do in the SEC championship game was get pressure on Bryce Young. What we did do in the national championship game was get pressure on Bryce Young. And that absolutely was, if not the biggest key to the game, as everyone, not just us, everyone talked about getting pressure on Bryce Young. That was certainly one, if the biggest difference, and made everything else click, and we had to have it. Absolutely had to have that pressure.
Absolutely. And I think, too, the other thing I would say is that I thought Georgia did actually, like, they got in the backfield more in Atlanta than it felt like during the game, watching the game, but they never were able to put hits on anybody. They would get right to Bryce Young, but they couldn't get him onto the ground even after the ball was out of his hand. And like you're saying, like early on in this game, he's on the ground a lot. He's taken some big hits and
if we're being real, he did not have every player he was used to having all year. I mean, we have to be real about that, and that's part of the game. But we made it count, and we should probably get through this first half and then kind of wax poetically about it. But clip 53 is what I've got next, right?
Yeah, hold on, sorry.
You got an issue?
My wife set off the smoke alarm.
All right.
Anyways, all right. So this is a bust by Chris Smith. Action confused him, and those bunch formations, right? Like we just talked about it. This was the only time in the Natty that Georgia got hurt by it. This was also the only play that Bryce Young made, or I'm sorry, that Jamison Williams made in this game. He gets hurt right here, which sucked, and you knew immediately. But like Chris Smith is just turned the wrong way. I don't know if Smith is fixing someone else's bus or if the bus is on him. It's hard to know without knowing what the call was. But long story short, that play was big, and it was a big explosive play by Jamison Williams. But like, if Georgia had kept busting coverages like this against that bunch formation, it wouldn't have mattered who was in the game. Like they would have had big plays. Alabama would have made explosive plays. And other than this one busted coverage in this game, Georgia had a plan for Jamison Williams, and it was executing it pretty much to perfection. And, when he was getting the ball in his hands, he was getting stopped a couple yards behind the line, and they were doing a really, really good job. So that's kind of my retort to everyone that's like, oh, if Jamison Williams doesn't get hurt, they win the game. No, they don't. Like, it's not like this dude was just beating it's not like he was just better than everyone on Georgia's secondary and was just beating man coverage all over the field when this injury happened. Is he a phenomenal player? Yeah, absolutely. But I think what Georgia had done schematically was a much bigger deal than I think a lot of people want to realize or maybe have realized. And ultimately that's what won this game for Georgia, not somebody not being there.
Here's another one of the bunches on clip 56.
Yeah, so 3rd and 6. Exactly. Great job by Poole here. Another one of those bunch formations. Poole was all over the place in the first half. Dude watched his film. And basically, you've got some pressure coming in from Tyndall here off the edge as well. But the window where Bryce Young expects this guy to come open doesn't happen. It doesn't happen as quickly as the timing needs to be for that route, and it allows the edge guys to come in there and disrupt it. So, yeah, you're 6'3" here, and Ringo's going to slip in coverage, give up this corner route to Latu. But it's also probably honestly, it may have been the play of the game. I know he made the interception later, but the fact that he tracks this down and keeps this game at 9-3 instead of 13-3, I think that if Georgia goes down 10 in this situation, it really changes what they're doing offensively, and they may get out of their game plan and just, things might get started to get a little haywire.
Yeah, Georgia definitely did not play a perfect game, but this is the one of the best teams in the country, and our athletes showed up. I mean, that's, like you said, Ringo tracks him down and makes a play, and as we all know, he definitely made another big play, at least one more coming up.
Yeah, totally. And so, but here you've still got Alabama 1st and goal, and you got to stop them. Devontae Wyatt right here does an incredible job. Just great athleticism in the interior. basically just kind of swimming across that formation. He's the left D tackle there, so he's coming back across and is able to make that play. And then this was, this was kind of maybe Alabama should have made that catch. Sometimes you need a break. Georgia hasn't gotten many against Bama over the years. Tyndall's looking into the backfield, and Nakobe basically rushes off his assignment and saves the day, right? And then we've probably all seen this clip by now. The next one that's coming up.
Yeah, that's just a guy looking. He might be getting hit, and he kind of dropped it. That's defense matters even when you don't make the perfect play.
He definitely doesn't drop it if Nakobe Dean's not like bearing down on him, right? So, but here, Tyndall gets chewed out by Nakobe after that play, and then he's going to come and make a huge sack. And felt like, we saw this clip go around in the days after the game, and it was really representative of what Georgia's defense was in 2021, like accountability and enough trust and enough security and everyone's own ability to be able to chew one another out. And instead of putting your head down and sulking, you go and make a huge sack on 3rd and goal and get your team off the field. And it's really rare on any sports team, but it's increasingly rare in portal kind of modern recruiting era where these guys are, they're built up in a big way before they ever step on campus. And it's really hard to deprogram those guys without ruining their confidence or, making them feel like you're an a-hole and driving them off the team. So there's an art to that. And I think that's something that Georgia and Kirby Smart have done a really masterful job of kind of walking that fine line.
A few more plays here for the halftime. You got Quay Walker, one of these guys still making noise this spring.
Nobody at Georgia in my lifetime made more grit plays than Quay Walker did in 2021. A lot of his stuff was unsung, but same thing I was talking about earlier, scrapes and fills into the hole over and over and over all year. Here he fills that hole, tackles one of the best running backs in college football. And I think what that all comes down to is like the eyes. He's got the best eyes and recognition skills that I've seen on an inside linebacker and run defense at the college level in a really long time. And he got overshadowed by Nakobe in a lot of ways, but he was just so incredible, I felt like, all year. Here we're going to have our boy Devontae Wyatt again. He's going to get engaged initially and then just uses brute strength and athleticism to like rip this blocker off of him and rushes upfield and makes the hit on Young. It's unreal, like movement and athleticism for a defensive tackle. He's the right DT there, number 95.
All right, jumped on it to 80. You want to look at 79 again?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
So here we go. We got Travon Walker. This is a rare instance of poor tackling by the Georgia secondary, and this could have been a touchdown if Walker wasn't hustling. And you're going to see him. This is why now he's talking about, Walker's projected to be a top 5 overall draft pick. 3 missed tackles by Georgia, but Travon Walker comes from all the way across that formation and saves the day. And I don't think anybody else is, if he's not there to make that tackle, I don't think that anyone else on the field is catching him for Georgia. So he just comes from a very long way away to get there. So keep in mind that that's a 280-pound defensive end that ran down a 5-star wide receiver from behind.
Yeah, you've made all these notes and you've been watching and commenting on these guys all year, and we get to the combine and then you can really see sort of what Georgia has been building behind the scenes, if you will. Everyone's watched the Georgia defense. Everyone commented on the yards per play allowed and the points per game allowed, and we brought home the national championship. But here it is against a baseline against every other NFL quality player in the NFL, and so many of those guys just balled out, and it sort of it's a little bit of anticlimactic at this point to go through these notes, but you were on it, you commented about it all year long, and what you're saying and what you've got down here is further validated by that another weekend for the Georgia Bulldogs defense in Indianapolis.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's definitely it's true, man. Like we talked about how this was special all year and like different, and these guys were freakish. And like I remember for the Michigan game, there was some Michigan fans that like watched our show and kind of jumped into some of our commentary on Twitter and were like, this isn't like 1960 like Big Ten football. Like this team speed stuff that you guys are talking about is BS. And I remember like a couple of them like midway through the second quarter of the Orange Bowl, like came back and they were like, all right, this is different. Like this is not normal, the team speed that we're seeing here. And I think like even within the standards of like SEC speed and that whole narrative that's been around since kind of the 2010s, like this was just different. It was totally different. Trevon Walkers don't come around very much. Like the dude ran down on kickoff coverage as a freshman at 280 something pounds. Like I'm glad we got to enjoy it. I'm glad that we got to watch them win a national title. I think Georgia's recruited really well. There's a lot of great players that are like coming in the pipeline of the program on defense, but this was different than anything we've ever seen and probably will be.
And, if you'll allow me to just say, there was a lot of questions coming out of our strength and conditioning and, so many things that, with a lot of injuries to, a lot of offensive players specifically were kind of nicked up for the first, first half of the season. And then certainly, clearly Kirby and the staff know how to get these guys ready to not only play a football game, but also perform at their best at the combine. So I was happy it's just year of the dog. So, all right, second half, we're going to kick it off with our man William Poole again, who was kind of the dog of the SEC, but now he's a big dog in the second half and this entire game.
I've never seen someone improve so much in 37 days than William Poole did. But yeah, here he's going to do a great job getting his hands on to Billingsley and pressing him at the top of this route, and that creates kind of, like Young overthrows it, but Billingsley also is never able to get off of this press coverage from William Poole here at the bottom of your screen. And he does a great job, great job by Christopher Smith securing the catch. But the reason that there's nobody there to contest him for that ball is the job that Poole's doing. So yeah, here we're going to see, look at Jalen Carter, 88. He's going to jump all the way across the face of his man and force his way into that hole. Just another, kind of, like I hate to say it because it's gotten cliche at this point, but like, hashtag built different. Jalen Carter, doing everything he does. I mean, like, truthfully, everyone says, even after what we've seen at the combine, like he's still the most freakish athlete on this entire team.
Yeah, he's coming back, guys. He's coming back.
Yeah, I can't wait. So probably the worst tackling we saw on a play from Georgia all year was right here. This really, Georgia has them second and long backed up on their own goal line. And this is why Kirby Smart freaks out about this type of stuff, right? Like these missed tackles set Bama onto a long drive after having them backed up on their own end. Beal did a good job right here. Robert Beal did, setting this edge and forcing Robinson inside, but Smith over pursued a little bit downhill and got caught outside the tackle. And then I think we've got Lewis here on a missed tackle and Quay as well.
And Chris Chris came up and sort of overplayed his role there in that play.
Yeah, totally. So a big play in this game, actually, because we're going to see Alabama's about to go down the field. But so here you've got Kendrick. He was such a dog, dude, like all year. Just gritty type of coverage, played so well for this team. And the knock on him coming in was this kid can't tackle. And here he comes up and wallops the guy on the screen and really did this all year. We saw him thump guys all season long. And here he's going to make a strong play in space.
Yeah. And big, like you said, he comes up, made a tackle, and maybe he was saving himself for the big games, but he's got 2 rings now.
Yeah,
can't take that away. Here's Quay Walker on a blitz.
Yep, Georgia brings the blitz with Quay, and there's zone on the back end, and this is a bad call versus a halfback route like this. Just a bad situation. Georgia gets caught, without really anyone in that space where that angle route is going to fill in from Robinson, and where Quay probably would have been is basically where that ball gets caught, and you got a first down when you had a third down situation, chance to get off the field. And then here, so Bama's leaning on Georgia at this point. They've been on a long drive, and Robinson's getting 5-6 yards of pop on early downs and keeping Bama in third and shorts. Georgia's starting to get pushed off the ball a little bit up front. They're looking human. Bama feels destined to go score on this drive, take a touchdown, take control of the game, and boom, Nolan Smith again abuses Jaleel Billingsley and gets out there and makes a play and gets in there and kind of flips this script a little bit, right? Because
and here comes 3rd and 11 after that first down play.
Yeah, and this is a dime from Bryce, right? Like, this is a great throw from Young. But Georgia sold out with pressure on 2 straight downs after putting Bama in 2nd and 12, and they didn't sit back in zone and wait, and that was the difference, right? And it's a drop, but it's also thrown a little bit earlier than he wants to throw that ball, and it creates a little bit more of an awkward angle, and there's maybe not quite as much trajectory and an arc on it because he's not able to step into that throw, and that contributes to the drop. So, again, it's one of those things where Georgia, instead of sitting back and rushing 3 and doing all of that stuff, like, they go after him and they unleash the pressure and they kind of put the destiny in their own hands, and that leads to, boom, block field goal by Jalen Carter. And even in the stadium at that point, like, it felt like, okay, wow, like, how is this game still 9-6 really at this point? And then right after this, James Cook's going to bust off his 60-something yard run. And
having nose tackles block field goals and critical
like games all the time too. Yeah.
Like, in critical games seems to be a theme of Georgia's successes, both in the Rose Bowl, the Peach Bowl last year, and this was huge.
Yeah, and I mean, it's super, like, just demoralizing if you're Alabama. Like, you just went on an 8-minute drive and you come up empty. Like,
yeah, it was huge. I mean, like, you just felt like, hey, we're taking, it's a championship, the old cliche of a heavyweight match, and you keep taking body blows, but you keep coming out of your corner and fighting, and that's just huge.
Yeah, 100%. And so now, Georgia's up 13-9. Alabama's gotten the ball back and come down into UGA's end a little bit, and they're going to bring this blitz from the slot corner. Poole's going to blitz right here, 31, and that leaves Chris Smith one-on-one with Ajay Hall, and he just doesn't come down quite enough and press that coverage, and that circle route to the pylon is a tough ask when your corner blitz doesn't get home, and the guy that's, kind of playing more on the hash instead of off to the edge is trying to cover a circle route. It's the right call for Bama versus the wrong defense for Georgia, and they've got 1st and goal again.
I hope this is the right play. This is one we had. Yeah, this is Ringo in the end zone.
Yeah, this is really good coverage by Ringo right here. Really, really good coverage of not giving up inside leverage and, sticking with 84 and getting that hand in there to break up that pass. It's pretty textbook, but I kind of forgotten about that play until I rewatched it because I didn't have a good view of it in the stadium, and it was a phenomenal job by him. Really interesting defense right here that Georgia's playing with the 2 down, kind of 2 standing up, and then everyone basically bunched within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. And good job by Quay Walker here. Good job with the pre-snap looks. And this blitz from Walker is basically what, keeps this from being a touchdown on 3rd and goal.
Yep. Is that the same play here? I've got 130.
No, I think this is right. This is right.
Yeah, 139. That was 2nd down, I guess.
No, yeah, no worries. Yeah, Quay gets there, and it's just a bad throw. And again, it's another bad throw that's created by pressure. And this is where Bryce Young, starts pounding grass and all that. And felt like Georgia's really in their heads at that point.
Yeah, I mean, there's another huge stand. This is, we remember a lot of the offensive plays from Stetson made late in the game, but none of those plays mean anything if this defense doesn't ball out. I've got a dog showing out, so forgive me if you hear my little French bulldog getting fired up about watching Dog Sports Live tonight. All right, 147 is
yeah. So this is right after the Stetson fumble. This was really close upon rewatch of turning into a pick six the other way. If that ball is thrown a little bit better by Bryce, or kind of thrown a little bit more to the inside, because Lewis gets it. Scene's able to come in there and kind of disrupt it and get a hand on it a little bit and tip that up. And at that point, who knows who runs under it? But obviously, it wasn't. And they finally get this touchdown on what was maybe offensive pass interference. Latu basically slammed Chris Smith down in the end zone, but it was also within just a few yards of the line of scrimmage, which usually those things are kind of allowed to happen. So hard to say. But yeah.
I think there's another angle on here. Yeah.
Yeah. You get to see a really good view of the throw down there.
And that's the kind of play you want your tight end to make, though, if we're being real.
For sure. Yeah. And so here, this is the 2-point conversion, and Georgia's in that 3-man front again. And this 3-man front turns into really good blitz and good pressure. And Nolan 18-18, and Georgia, needs to get back off the field. It's a 1-point game, and this defensive line takes over, right? Wyatt and Davis. How many times do we say that this year? When it mattered, they made themselves large. And, right here, 1st and 10, Alabama's trying to run the ball, and 2-3 yard loss, really big in terms of situational play calling for both sides. Yeah, is this 162? Yeah. So Kendrick, again, doing his thing downfield. But the other big moment here is Dean going up top one-on-one with Brian Robinson out of the backfield and locking him down. Robinson comes in motion, kind of the James Cook play that Georgia ran with Todd Monken a lot. And we don't have the full wide angle here, but the ball doesn't – well, we do. We see that he's not open, basically. And Kendrick has good coverage as well. Just there wasn't spots for Bryce Young to just throw balls into like there had been in Atlanta.
It's 163.
Yeah. So, this is the play of the game, right? I know we've said that a lot, but bunch set, again, 3rd down, long. William Poole comes in, textbook coverage. Couldn't be played better. Like, just an incredible job by him. You see the angle here. Does not give up the inside when Bolden tries to come back around. Doesn't commit pass interference. Puts the arm in there and breaks it up. You could not strip that any better. It's textbook.
Yeah, just beautiful play. No, yeah, like you said, he was so dogged after the SEC championship game, and just came back and was just an integral part of this defense for on January 11th for us.
Yeah, 100%. Then here we've got Poole getting off a tight end block, cracking the ball for Carrier. We're at 26-18 here, and good job by Poole, basically driving upfield on the outside shoulder of Latu, and Dean's coming from that inside pursuit angle and creates a really nice job of making the tackle. Here we've got 3rd down, and Jacoby gets caught giving away the inside leverage on this pass. Another one of these little kind of circle route or angle routes to Brian Robinson. And Jacoby got outside a little bit too far there. here you go. So yeah, Jalen Carter is not tired at this stage of the ball game. Just you would think with everything going on and the concern of protecting the pass and trying to pass rush, Georgia may get caught, kind of weak in some gap assignments here, and that's not the case. Alabama's not able to run the ball in this situation. I think that's a big reason why what's about to happen happens. Great play by Bryce Young here. Oh wait, is this? I'm looking for 181.
181. I don't have 181. I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry.
There's 183.
Yeah. So again, Kendrick's going to be downfield. Fantastic job by him and Christopher Smith. Just really nice work. And then,
yeah, we missed 181 to drive the ball down the field, but yeah, this is the culmination of everything we've been waiting for 41 years.
No, this is 184 and 185.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, the spot in the field here, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, again, but, they keep testing Kendrick down this boundary late, and he just never lets up. They test him twice in a row downfield with Ja'Cory Brooks, the guy that caught the pass against Auburn to get the game into overtime, basically in the exact same, on the same deal, right edge. And Kendrick's there both times. No space. And then you got third down.
Oh, here's another angle on that play there.
Yeah.
And 186. Ugh.
And you guys all know what's about to happen next.
Well, let's just sit back. Let me just full frame this thing right here. I just can't get enough of it. All right. So
the downfield blocking is absurd here by Georgia, for the record. Like,
yeah,
Tyndall and Smith and Dan Jackson takes a massive headshot, but like everybody's in the right spot doing the right thing.
I'm usually pretty good about like, okay, we go out of bounds, take a knee. I was not there. It's like, I mean, I was not even thinking, okay, we run the clock out, at all. It's like we don't give them the ball back, and I was celebrating. Had you even were you thinking of like, oh, he needs to go out of bounds or he needs to take a knee, or were you just like?
I was just kind of like, oh, I hope he doesn't like. I was kind of just thinking like he needs to not fumble the ball, like he needs to get down, and I kept thinking like, because I was sitting kind of in the corner looking down on the play, and I was on the same sideline that he catches the ball on, and so from my angle there was like a couple Alabama guys that looked like were about to tackle him, and I kept being like, oh, he's about to get tackled and go down, but it's okay, like Georgia's going to be a first down away from winning this game basically, or there's not going to be enough time left for Alabama to do anything. But he just kept running and running and running, and I'm in that end zone. And all of a sudden, like I think it was the moment where he kind of passes the spot where Tyndall and Chris Smith are making their blocks, and like you realize he's about to score, and everybody went batshit crazy.
And you've seen this. I mean, if you play fantasy football, you've seen either the running back or the guy's about to go in the end zone, and the right football play is to take a knee, or you've seen it in any kind of games. But this is
I think that was the right football play though, because Bama had 3 timeouts. So like, if he goes down and Georgia runs the ball up the middle 3 times and gets tackled, then they have to punt out of their own end, and and God knows it's Alabama, like. So if I guess can happen, it will.
I guess if you could rewind it, the play is to run out the 1 yard line. You know what I mean? It's like, but who freaking cares?
Maybe, yeah. I guess that could be.
All right, we got 191 here.
So in the end, right? Like this is kind of symbolic of the difference between this game and the first between these two teams. In the end, Georgia's defensive line found the pressure on Bryce Young that it couldn't produce in Atlanta. And they did. They won this game the way they had won every other game that they played all year. The return of Beal in 2022 is a big deal, by the way, that not enough people are talking about. I thought he was great in this game, and I thought from the moment when Adam Anderson got suspended to the Alabama game, which was basically, the last, November and December, his ability to set the edge and just kind of be in the right places at the right time and get into run gaps the right way, vastly improved.
Let's see if I can do this. This is the last page of Graham's notes here. 193 is
You're
over
a
here.
little off. Yeah.
There you go. Good night. Bad word.
Yep. Well, here you go. Yeah, and at this point, like, it was just kind of pure delirium, and everybody was like trying to figure out if this was real. And there you go.
It was
Nolan Smith.
It felt so good. Still feels
it did, yeah. I still it still doesn't. I don't know. For me, it still hasn't fully sunk in, but it will.
All right,
at some point, I think
we made it through. The dogs attacked Dog Sports Live, but we made it through. Graham, you've gone through every single play of this game. You've gone through every single play of the 2021 season, and I'm looking forward to the 2022 season with more breakdowns. We're going to get into it. But first off, thanks. Every time I sit down and do this with you, I learn something more, and I'm sure we get off feedback from people feel the same way. So bravo, my friend. Go Dogs.
Thanks.
Not ending the show.
Absolutely. No, I think just there's going to be 2022 coming up and all of it's going to be fun, right? Like, I'm excited to do G-Day together and spring practice and fall practice and position previews and all the stuff that we do here. But I think it's going to be even more enjoyable without kind of that pressure, right? For Georgia fans of, if Georgia goes 11-1 next year, it'll be a great season and it's fine. But it's just, there was that big monkey on the back for so long where it felt like anything less than all the way isn't good enough. And I'm going to have to hear, the crap from the Florida fan that works at my office or the Alabama guy or whatever in the 1980. And you don't have to hear any of that anymore. Yeah. So enjoy it and realize that whatever comes next will be fun and exciting. But I also think you don't see 41-year droughts in major college football very often, right? Because the Blue Bloods are the Blue Bloods and they win every 10, 15 years or whatever. So I think it's special, man, and it'll continue to be special, and I think it'll be even more special as time passes. And because I'm really glad. Last thing I'll say, I'm really glad that you and I got to do this together this year with how this ended, because we really got to fully immerse ourselves in everything that happened this season. And I think because of that, I'll remember it way better than I would have otherwise. And it was just special that we got to cover this the way that we did.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And it was kind of a fun year because so many special players on the field, and everyone that follows me on Twitter, watches the show, knows I'd kind of dig into the stats, and it's easy to look at yards per play offensively and touchdowns and scores, but it's like this defense, we were able to sort of kind of look at how dominant this defense was, and you can, it's just more than tackles for loss or tackles or pressures, it's success rate and EPA, some of this stuff, and we were tracking this defense and all year long and how special it was. And it's just it hasn't really let us down since, obviously the SEC championship game, which, I keep asterisking everything I say about it, but it's this defense is special. It was special all year. Anyone that followed that side of the stats of it was not just me. It was everyone was talking about how special it was. And then the defense is probably going to have at least 4 guys, maybe as many as 4 guys drafted in the first round. So yeah, it was a special year, and it was nice to not only have a great year with great players, but to win it all. And it just feels great. Still feels great. Hasn't not felt great. I look forward to waking up tomorrow, looking at my Twitter feed and seeing somebody else post another play from the game and just getting all fired up again. Talking about spring, we're reloading and rebuilding. But there's a lot of, like you talked about, Robert Beal, Christopher Smith's back, Nolan Smith. I mean, there's a lot of
Ringo.
There's guys coming back. We missed out on Tyke, who transferred in last year, who's going to be a veteran stud player that can produce for us. We've got a stable of running backs to replace, some leaders that are leaving us, but, and of course we've got a hell of a leader under center. What have you heard? I know we haven't dug too much in the spring stuff, but what have you heard out of practice a few days this week that it started on Monday?
Yeah, I think, the defense appears to be ahead of where the offense is right now, which is kind of funny because the offense was ahead of the defense last year, and the defense ended up being the far better unit, right? So I don't know there's much to read into that, but
and we got some guys out. I think Bowers and Washington are not.
Yeah, I think they're getting a look at a lot of these young guys, and I think that's exciting. I'm interested to see what's up.
Did Delp early enroll, or is he coming in?
Yeah, he's been playing.
There.
Yeah. And Gilbert's playing tight end as well. Delp is, I think both of them are the type that can flex out and play wide receiver. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they use those weapons. Sounds like the wide receiver group is a little bit kind of, behind maybe where they were last year. No Pickens, no Burton. You've got Bowers hurt. Like there's a lot of guys that are not there right now. So that's going to be interesting to just kind of see who develops and who emerges in that crew, and if Georgia goes to the transfer portal this offseason or not. But
we're gonna do another G-Day show preview and recap. But I just remember, recapping that game, and it was A.D. Mitchell catching a big play, and he balled out in the G-Day game. And of course, the Brock Bowers mentioned that Jeremy from dogsports.com mentioned. So stay tuned, because these guys that come out and play in the spring, and especially they were huge contributors. I mean, both A.D. Mitchell, the catch of
21,
exactly.
Totally.
So we may not know who these guys are now, but let's watch. And there's no guarantees. I mean, obviously there's been many of G-Day studs that don't do anything, but Georgia's got a lot of Georgia's got a lot of players that are gonna get a chance to play. I'm looking forward to getting into it and looking about where we talk about stats a lot. There's returning production. And there's some things you can learn from returning production, but also, Alabama was depleted last year, but they're still right there. It doesn't mean just because you don't have a lot of returning production doesn't mean you're going to be good. There's a lot of factors to it. We're going to look at that. We're also going to look at other teams that national and in the SEC and nationally, what to expect. We're going to dig as much into it as we can. Georgia's got a new basketball. Georgia's got two new basketball coaches.
We don't know who the women's one is yet. But
okay. They didn't. Okay, I thought it was going to be the coach from Ole Miss. So
apparently she decided to stay. Yeah, like last minute. So be interesting to see how that shakes out.
Mike White, you've done a lot talking about Mike White, and I think it's a good hire. He's La Tech to Florida, now to Georgia, and I think it's definitely an upgrade. Do you have anything that you want to discuss that's been about Mike White to calm me down, to tell me everything's going to be okay?
I mean, I think that hire happened so quickly that it was understandable for some people, like, to just kind of be like, whoa, what is this? Or I think some people maybe felt like, did Georgia overplay their hand in some way by not waiting until some of these coaches were out of the NCAA tournament? Or, I think there was a lot of different reactions, and it definitely caught me off guard, right? Like, no one was talking about Mike White. But I think,
which makes sense. I mean, he was currently coaching a team, so it's
of course, totally.
You can speculate on assistant coaches that have ties to Georgia and mid majors that are going to be clearly offered lots of jobs. You can't really talk about a coach that's coaching in your league, potentially getting a bid to the tournament as well.
I mean, my thing is, like, the market ultimately dictates whether or not somebody made a good hire, right? And when you look at the market, like Georgia, Florida, LSU, South Carolina, Mississippi State, and Missouri all hired college basketball coaches this offseason. And Georgia's the only one of those programs that hired a guy that has had success at the Power 5 level and, went to 5 straight NCAA tournaments at the Power 5 level. Is there things that, he did at Florida that people feel like he will need to do better? Yeah, absolutely. But I do think, like, for Georgia being last in the pecking order of prestige, probably among those college basketball programs, at least in terms of recent results, being able to go and get a guy that is a proven commodity, I think is a big deal.
Yeah, I think the only program that could have really beaten Georgia to a coach that they wanted would have been LSU. So that said, I think
I think Florida could have, if we had known that Florida was going to be hiring, like if Georgia didn't hire their coach away, if both were in the market at the same time.
Oh, for sure. But coaches we knew. What I was going to say is like, so I think that said, Georgia got their guy. It wasn't like when we hired Tom Crean, we settled, because we got beat out by the coach's name escapes me at this point, but Tom Crean,
Thad Matta,
Thad Matta. That was a little bit of a settling. There weren't, coaches hired from Virginia and Wake Forest that people were talking about coming into the SEC. It was, a lot of mid majors, coach from San Francisco, coach from Murray State. But we, like you said, we've got the Power 5 coach that has NCAA wins and an Elite 8 performance a few years ago, and I believe he was coach of the year in the SEC that year. So it's hard to argue. I will say that I was pretty negative about the hire, and I'm not negative against Mike White at all. I think he's a good coach. I think he's going to be not just a little bit of an upgrade, but a substantial upgrade. I think he's going to make a program that we're all going to be proud of and we want to cheer on. I guess I was just, like you said, it was a rushed hire, and it felt a little bit of sort of a click happening of not really thinking outside of the box. And who knows what goes on behind the scenes. So I'm certainly excited, much more excited about Georgia basketball than I've been in the last few years. And, it's such a different, game, if you will, in terms of who you can bring in and how quickly you can turn around a program. And I think Georgia fans are expecting a much better product and a lot better results. To stay.
Iowa State won 2 games last year, and now they're in the Sweet 16, right? So it's like you can turn it around quick with the portal and all of that stuff, that you're alluding to. It is like, I know what you mean in terms of sort of the out of box thing, because it's like, oh, well, you want the cool up and coming young name, or I think that there was a lot of people that would have liked to see Georgia maybe hire an African American head coach, or just lots of different scenarios. But I will say, like, I never once considered that Georgia might try to hire Florida's head coach. So it felt very out of the box in that sense of like, well, it's an original idea, like we haven't seen those two programs trade coaches, I think, in almost any sport ever in the past. It was definitely different and not somebody that was kind of a hot name in the media. But ultimately, like, I think, so the reality is that all coaching hires are probably a C+ grade. And then we know if they're, which way they trend after a year or two, right? Like, there's been so many hires made in college basketball and college football the last couple of years that I thought were great, that ended up terrible, or that I thought were bad and ended up well, that I think we got to wait and see the results. But I am confident that Georgia will win more than 6 basketball games next year.
Yeah, take the over.
Hammer the over.
Hammer the over. No, but I guess the last thing I'll say is that Georgia was as we've talked about a lot of times, is like it was taken to the ground level in terms of what we had. So it's a complete rebuild, and maybe that's not the kind of job you want to hire to a first-time assistant coach that's coming home to his alma mater. As much as that would have certainly in my Twitter sphere, certainly Jonas was the fan favorite there. Mike White came up from Louisiana Tech and was successful there, followed Billy Donovan at Florida, and knows what it's like to, kind of follow a legend, which is not facing here. So, I mean, he's been around the block and knows what it takes to make a good basketball program. So it's probably I don't want to say a safe hire because that seems like has negative connotations, but it's definitely a quality hire. And I want to be on record as saying I am supportive of Mike White and excited for Georgia basketball next year, as I am always excited for Georgia basketball. Anything else, Graham, we want to talk about before we let these people go tonight?
No, I think we're good.
We got these guys on sale.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I forgot about that. FTMF hats at dogstats.com and stickers and stuff. Some
Get
we've got
sued by the game.
No, hey, shout out to the game. They were nice people once they told me to stop selling. So no, and we're going to be doing some more stuff in the spring, and we thank you guys for all the interaction, the feedback, the sharing, the support, the comments. We've got every time we do one of these, we get amazing comments, and we appreciate it because it's a lot of fun. We do this 100% for fun, and having you guys enjoy it means a lot.
100%. No, I'm with you, man, and I definitely am excited for what we've got kind of coming down the pipe, and we'll have some fun news to share here in the coming week or two. But all you need to know is we're not going anywhere, and we hope to see more of you coming forward.
All right. Let me push a button and say, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.